This is a short video about the imperfect and pluperfect subjunctives, the grammar found in Ecce chapter 41. Before we dive right into what the subjunctive looks like and how to translate it, let's talk about the 5 characteristics of verbs. The first characteristic that we know is the person. For example, first person, second person, or third person. The second characteristic is the number, singular or plural. The third characteristic is tense, present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, or future perfect. The fourth characteristic is voice, active or passive. And the final characteristic is mood. Since subjunctive falls into the mood, let's take a minute to talk about the 4 moods of verbs. One mood that we often talk about is the infinitive. We've seen present active infinitives, amare, to love, present passive, amari, to be loved, and perfect active infinitives, to have loved, amawisse. Another mood is the imperative. Remember, that's used for giving orders, so sedete, omnes, sit down, or tacete, be quiet, or salvete, hello. A third mood is called the indicative. Up until this point, with the exception of infinitives and imperatives, these are all of the verbs that we've seen. So amo, amabam, amabo, amawi, amawiram, amawiras, etc. And the final mood is the subjunctive, the topic of this video. Before we talk about why we use the subjunctive or how to translate them, let's talk about how to form the imperfect subjunctive. So we always want to start for the imperfect subjunctive with the present active infinitive. We'll start with my good friend and yours, amare. When we conjugate, that's going to be our base. To our base, we're going to add our personal endings, m, s, t, mus, tis, nt. For the time being, because we're just going to learn about subjunctive uses in cum clauses, when you see an imperfect subjunctive like this, you're going to translate it as I, if it was amarem, or s, you, or t, he, was blanking. So I was loving. To form the pluperfect subjunctive, we're also going to start with an active infinitive. In the imperfect, we started with the present active infinitive, amare. In the pluperfect subjunctive, we're going to start with the perfect active infinitive, amawisse. To our perfect infinitive, amawisse, we're going to add our personal endings, mst, mustis, nt. Because these are in the pluperfect tense, we'll translate amawissem as I had loved. That pluperfect tells us that it's had. Let's do some examples. Take a moment and pause the video and try to translate the following phrases. Cum amavisset puellam, cum in urbe habitarem, cum canes in agros spectaremus. Pause the video and try to translate these. We translate cum amavisset puellam as when he had loved the girl. Amavisset is pluperfect, so we have to include the word had. Number 2, we translate as when I was living in the city. Habitarem is in the imperfect, so we'll include that was. And number 3, cum canes in agro spectaremus, when we were watching the dogs in the fields. Again, spectarimus is imperfect, so we have to include that were. Any questions? Come see me. You know where my office is, and we'll do some more review of this tomorrow in class. Happy translating.